Hi, you're watching Me, The Diplomat, and joining us today on the show is Mr. Mohamed Higazy, the ambassador of Egypt to India. Hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
India and Egypt together elaborated the philosophy of NAM, non-aligned moment. But in the present situation, what is the relevance of NAM?
Egypt and India pioneered the NAM movement during the 60s and the 70s, and new revival to the movement is now in discussion, and NAM is more relevant than ever. NAM is a movement that combined a variety of nations, nations that have a lot of synergies.
No, but in today's geopolitical setup, what stage should be given to NAM?
NAM certainly can move in many directions: political harmony, economic coordination, and in forging policies that can bring in a meaningful voice to the international issues, being it political or economics.
To come back to the same state where we have bipolar powers, what should be done?
I think that NAM has to meet the new changes and challenges worldwide. NAM have served international relations positively over the years of the Cold War, and now in the new era and the new age has also a very important role in the economic and international arena, and to face the challenges that the international community is facing, both on the economic front, in the issues that is now under discussion.
We have had a very great, deep-rooted, multifaceted relation, Egypt and India. But what is Egypt's stand now when India becomes a nuclear power and has become a partner of America?
India is such an important and sovereign partner, not only to Egypt, but to many regional and international players. And I'm sure that India, with its relations with the United States and many other international partners, will be an instrumental factor in stabilizing and in achieving peace and security worldwide, not only in the region, but also in many other places where...
But this makes Egypt happy or unhappy?
Very happy, indeed. India is always a dear friend of Egypt and many other countries.
Now, as you've mentioned, Middle East crisis is deepening day by day. We both have been very good relationship with Israel. How to sort out this issue, the crisis that Middle East is going through?
From an Egyptian point of view, Egypt is exerting all its effort, its utmost, to bring in a meaningful peace and stability to the region. We are working with our Palestinian partners to close in the differences that is emerging.
And how should this statement be taken when Mr. Mubarak, your president, says that Mr. Olmert is being prevented to take such steps where Israel can get in a good relationship with other countries?
The president's statement was very clear that both sides has to work hand in hand to bring in a meaningful peace and stability into the Middle East peace process. The roadmap, which we've been all envisaged, need to be looked at in view of the latest development. We would like also to have a strong Palestinian stand, unified. This unified Palestinian stance will certainly help the peace process. Divergence and brotherly confrontation will certainly lead us to a disarray. The Middle East need harmony, and this is what Egypt exactly is doing. India comes here as a very important player. India, with all its experience and heritage and its political recognition worldwide, has a very important role also to play in the Middle East. India, from its part, have nominated a special delegate, a very prominent diplomat, Ambassador Gari Khan, to be India representative in the Middle East and envoy to the peace process, he will certainly add with his knowledge and with the weight his country is carrying.
Do you think it will see peace, the kind of treatment, anonymity that America is showing?
Peace is the ultimate goal to everybody, to the US policies, to the Egyptian policies, to the Indian policies, to the Israeli policies, to the Palestinian policies. It is how to reach peace. Egypt rule and the Indian rule and the international community as a whole, who adhere to many resolutions calling for the two people to live side by side in a secure border.
Egyptian President Mr. Mubarak condemned the execution of Saddam Hussein and its timing of the execution at the beginning of a religious festival. He said that the deposed leader becomes a martyr. What is your view on this?
Actually, President Mubarak was very clear from the beginning that the execution will not add but more bloodshed to the situation. One has to look ahead to what is needed, a meaningful peace and reconciliatory approach between the Iraqi people themselves will lead Iraq out, meaning that with a meaningful reconciliatory process, Iraqis can forge their way ahead. And I'm sure the Iraqis will show wisdom and courage and to left behind the grievances and build a better future for their people.
And the relationship of America and Iran is worsening day by day. India, on both the issues, on Iran issue plus the issue of Saddam Hussein's execution, has shown unhappiness on both the issues, though America is a friend to India. Would you like to comment on this?
I think India and Egypt share the same view that through dialogue, relations between nations should be conducted. In the Irani issues and in other issues, it is only through dialogue and peaceful means that any dispute should be settled.
The more issues we can talk on, but before this, we'll take a short break. Keep watching Meet the Diplomat. Welcome back. You're watching Meet the Diplomat. The Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Trade declared 2002 as the year of India and Egypt to further strengthen, enhance and develop the relationship between Egypt and India. How far have we reached after that?
India and Egypt have played a very important role in world politics through the NAM as we've started our discussion. On Egypt-India bilateral relations, it's not only political harmony that prevailed, but also in trade and investments, there were a lot of achievements since 2002. And we moved ahead.
Did we touch new dimensions after that?
We actually, a quantum leap. We have touched the new dimension, as you said, and the balance of trade 2006 have reached $2 billion US dollar. This is a very important figure because it is in the increase month by month, and in the first for the first time Indian investments also in Egypt is increasing rapidly. We have an agreed upon projects with the volume of 1.7 billion US dollars Indian investments in Egypt. We have also Egyptian investments in India in both telecommunication and tourism and in many other sectors.
India is the 12th largest investor in Egypt.
Yes.
And there are more investors in India who are looking forward to do investments in Egypt. What facilities do you think of providing to them?
Actually, the code of investments in Egypt is very encouraging, and many Indian companies have explored that for themselves. From the past, we have Oberoi and Tata groups installed in Egypt, and we have many others who are now very important players in the market.
Mr. A. Gopinath recently made the statement, increasing number of Indian companies are looking upon Egypt as an important investment destination in fields of energy, telecommunication, textile, automobiles, etc. Whereas Indian tea and meat companies are seriously looking forward to regain their past lost positions. What more to be done in these sectors?
Yes, now there is a very important transaction going on between the two countries. Tea also is open to the Egyptian market. It's a matter of pricing. And the Indian tea is very competitive and very reputable and known in Egypt. Egypt is the third consumer of tea worldwide.
And he added, we would like to share with Egyptian enterprise our own experience in the field of information technology. Have we moved ahead on what he stated?
Our Minister of Information Technology, along with 25 business leaders and equal number from officials in the sector, have paid a very important visit to India, and they signed a very important MOU, and they moved ahead with a lot of Indian companies in venturing cooperative frameworks, where about many Indian companies now are thinking of Egypt. Leading companies like I've stated, like Satyam, Wipro, have already started venturing in Egypt.
What does Egypt think to provide to India, to share with India?
A lot like, indeed. Beside trade and investments, Egyptian investors also are looking to the Indian market, which is open, I'm sure, to them. In telecommunication, we have also an important Egyptian contribution, and we wish also to come forward in tourism. About 3 or 4 Egyptian companies have started installing their premises along with Indian partners in Delhi and Mumbai, and Egypt there is planning also to bring in 7 flights a week instead of 2 going to Mumbai to cover many other cities. We had a very serious civil aviation dialogue or negotiation over the past 2 months, and we reached an MOU in the joint committee between Egypt and India.
And defense is one of the sectors where we both are sharing our experiences. Then why don't we both think of creating a joint research team where we can develop many more new equipments?
I'm sure India and Egypt possesses a lot of capability. A lot of coordination is going on between the very old establishment who have very old ties.
There are enormous opportunities for interactions and cooperation with India for Egypt in the field of, you say, commerce, economy, investment. But do you think we have come up to the desired level? And if we have not, what are the impediments you see on the way?
Well, we are in the road, and this is very important. We have channeled our relations very right. From a political point of view, we have political discussion on a yearly basis in Cairo in September. Last we had our bilateral talks between the 2 ministries, where we harmonized actually political issues both on regional and international arenas. And this political harmony is coupled also with a very emerging ties between the private sector in both countries. Our 2 ministries, Foreign Affairs, are coordinating actually the Joint Commission. We held its 5th round in Delhi in December 15th, and it was a very successful round where 5 agreements were signed. Among them, they were a partnership agreement. So this strategic relation and Egypt coast to the east, adding to the healthy historical relations we had, means that our relation is nominated to touch higher grounds.
Lack of adequate interactions between the private sectors, policy makers, insufficient investment relations, these are the constraint in the growth of our bilateral relations. Do you agree with it? And people-to-people contact.
Well, let me just take the first part of your important question. Those are traditional criticism to relations when we say lack of contacts between business leaders. But if I told 50 of them were here just 2 weeks ago in Delhi interacting in the IT sector, where India is truly playing a very important role and can benefit a lot the Egyptian IT emerging industry, which is a very also important industry to my country. And if I told you that next month our Minister of Tourism is coming with an important business delegation number is to be decided And if I told you I am meeting with the business leaders in the field of railways, that Egypt is renovating its railway and benefiting from the Indian, so the business leaders' contacts is ongoing.
You're saying that we've had a very friendly relationship, and our relationship dates back to the time even before the nations became independent, and needs to be strengthened. We'll talk about it, but before this, we'll take a short break. Keep watching Meet the Diplomat. Welcome back. You're watching Meet the Diplomat. IT has assumed a significant plus a deciding factor as far as business industrial policies are concerned. India being one of the leaders in the IT industry, how has it been fitted into Egypt government's future schemes?
This is a very important question, because the IT is very instrumental in the new Egyptian economic programs and industries, and it is an industry that exists in the country since the 70s. In the beginning of this industry in Egypt, there were some let's say restrictive attitude from the Egyptian companies to cooperate with external world, because of the fear that this industry might be threatened by big players. With the maturity this industry have reached, opening up for partners in this very important industry become an important part in any strategic planning. And India is one of the most important players in this emerging industry, and there is a lot that our industry can benefit from the Indian companies.
What is the role, do you think, that Abul Kalam Center is playing?
Well, I mean the cultural. Yes, this is very important. I have to say that we admire very much our partners in India, the ICCR and the institutions and the think tanks and many other non-governmental organizations who have approached us, and we are old partners to them. Time has come that we revive this old culture relations.
To revive it, that means to come up in a new temperament. What all steps to be taken?
Allow me just to touch on tourism and the importance of people-to-people relations. One point that I wanted to, let's say, talk about, which I consider very important. India, with its history and its multicultural society and its experience, can play a very important role in the debate that is going on nowadays about the cultural contacts between people, about the dialogue of civilization, and in bringing in a meaningful message between religions and cultures, and this issue which is talking about the clashes between civilizations is to put aside and to give a way to a much more reconciliatory, much more understandable ways of each other, and how can we in the old culture, India and Egypt, help this dialogue. So India is nominated truly to play a very important role in the dialogue between religion, civilization.
And in the African continent, India has already won a lot of recognition and is doing good. But to make its presence stronger, Egypt being the entry point, what support can it provide to India?
Egypt have played a very important role in Africa, in political and in the economic fields. And Egypt also enjoys very strong relations with individual African countries and African groupings. We are part of the COMESA. It's a group of 19 African countries, 360 million, and we ties with those countries that can benefit Indian companies as well. Like Egypt is a gateway to Africa. It is true. It's not only a gateway to Africa, but also it's a gateway to the Arab world and to the Gulf, as well as to the Mediterranean, Europe, and the United States.
So it has to play a very important role to make India's presence strong in African continent.
I agree 100%.
The first cultural agreement between Egypt and India was signed in 1958 as Cairo Agreement. Yes. 2002 was considered the year of India in Egypt. many MOUs, many things, many delegations have moved from India to Egypt, from Egypt to India. Where do we stand today?
Yes, I mean, your question insinuates that if agreements do not find really application, they are useless. And I agree with you. But framework agreements are very important to establish a base for future to come and to create the atmosphere necessary either for business people or banking or tradesmen to work together with the safe umbrella of agreements. This agreement, the cultural and scientific agreement, will allow us to move ahead with the cultural weeks that we have spoken about, and will allow also exchange of students, and will allow many other fields of cooperation, particularly in education, science and technology.
You're saying that more cooperation interaction will be touching new degrees in the coming years?
I am positive about that, and I'm working for that.
Hope we do so. Thanks a lot
Thank
for
you
talking.
very much. Thank you.
That's all for today in Meet the Diplomat. See you next week again. Till then, bye-bye.